Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dr. Richmond, in my opening statement, I talked about my concerns about the fact that the OIG within the Department of Energy is so under-resourced. Recent legislation has awarded over $128 billion in newly appropriated funding to the department, as well as $350 billion in new loan authority. And of that, my reading of the budget is that the OIG was given less than 0.1% of that funding to oversee that. When we had our hearing several weeks ago, Terry Donaldson, the Inspector General for the Department of Energy, testified, and I wrote it down because it had such an impact on me. She said, the department is so dramatically under-resourced that she is compelled to mention it anytime she's on the Hill. So I find that pretty alarming. What is the department doing to make sure that the OIG has the resources that they need to oversee this new funding?
Well, thank you very much for raising that concern, because we want to make sure that we're doing everything right and legally. So, I think DOE is committed to maintaining the public trust in the government, committed to transparency and accountability in the operations of the government. And so what we're working very hard on is to make sure that we achieve the ethics that are necessary. We're working diligently to ensure that staff is aware of and following the letter of the spirit of ethics laws and regulations to ensure the American people.
I'm sorry, Dr. Richmond, I was asking about these. We'll get to the letter. We can do that first if you want. Okay. But I was asking about funding for the OIG.
Oh, well, in that case, we'll certainly take it under consideration because that's not one that I'm as familiar with, but Kathleen is certainly more familiar
Dr.
with.
Hogan?
And certainly we are aware of the issues with that funding. I had the opportunity to testify in front of an oversight committee with our Inspector General, and certainly that was a major topic there. And we're looking at that in the department. We certainly support everybody having the resources that they need to do their work around oversight. The other things that we are doing in the department around oversight is very active engagement with our Inspector General. They have an amazing history of knowing where to look for fraud, waste, and abuse from past things that they've looked at. They're sharing all of that with the current team. They're training up our new people.
Oh, I was very impressed in the hearing at the level of effort. I'm just concerned that there aren't enough eyeballs. So will you commit to looking for ways to try and steer some additional funding to the OIG to make sure that oversight can occur?
We will look throughout the department to see what we can do.
Great,
there.
I appreciate that. Dr. Richmond, getting back to the issue of the letter that Chairman Williams and I sent regarding the recent letter that we had sent on the large number of trades in energy company stocks that were made by DOE employees. I mean, you understand that this is an allegation of wrongdoing. I understand what department policy says. The problem is we are all public servants.
That's right.
And the public perception when a third of the senior management at DOE has been trading in the same stocks that they oversee, that's very bad public perception. So what should policy be in this respect?
Well, in this case, DOE's most recent ethics program review conducted by the Office of Government Ethics disclosed absolutely no issues with the quality of the ethics advice given to the employees. Ethics advice is readily available to any employee.
Sure. I understand all of this,
yeah.
And you provided this in your response to us.
Yes.
But I'm asking you, what do you think? Because we have a perception problem here. The average American is not going to agree that this is a good look for the DOE.
Yes, I hear you, and I understand it. And we'll work on this and get back to you.
Okay.
Because this is really important. Sometimes impressions are more important than what's actually happening, and we can't possibly lose the trust of our taxpayers in this important area.
And history has shown that when we don't have these safeguards in place, that opens the door for abuses to occur. And if I could further ask you to do something, the response that the DOE gave to Chairman Williams and I late last night to our letter, I found really inadequate and disappointing. And not because of the content of it, I understand what you're saying, but because we had asked a series of very specific questions about this activity within the DOE that the letter did not address. And we're all on the same team here. No one's trying to light each other up. We're trying to make sure that we set a framework for fruitful collaboration between branches and for trust with the American public. So if I could ask you to give us a response that gives us detailed answers to all the questions we ask, would you please do that?
That's my promise.
Okay, thank you very much. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.